And we are back. Welcome, guys. My name is DK, and in this video, we're going to be breaking down the 2-game NFL preseason slate on Friday. Hopefully, you guys had a good week one. Apologize for not getting videos up there. Was moving apartments and didn't have internet for a few days, so couldn't get any YouTube videos up there. But we'll be having videos, obviously, this week. If you guys are looking for more content, you can check out my premium linked in the description below. An absolute movie week one was. Absolute movie for props and for DFS. We'll recap that in a second here. But we do pick 'em props, prize picks underdog. We killed it. We'll bet on some games and then daily fantasy sports. Basically posting every single piece of news. We cover it live stream before lock, do player pool, roster construction video, Discord access to ask me questions 24/7. If you're interested in that, I'll give you a huge leg up to the field. Link is in the description. And we'll recap some of those results right now. So here is from last week, both WNBA and NFL, to be honest, but preseason has gone very well for me so far for week one. Few solid wins, nothing crazy, 800, 500, 400, but had to take down WNBA the other night, so hoping to keep that going. And then for Pick'em, here are the results so far for August. And again, for prize picks, limited to $5, death limited. That's what they do to anyone that wins long term, which most of these people that give out picks are not winners, and that's why they're betting $500, $1,000 per slip, which is just, it makes me laugh every single time. 325% ROI so far for prize picks. For underdog, 160% ROI. Insane. And again, someone like on Twitter, again, casual, it's $162 to me. Like I said, $5. That's all they let me bet on prize picks. $5. That's what happens when you win. Over 50% ROI on the year for prize picks. There's a reason they only let me bet $5 per slip. So, it's always funny when you see people, posting $500, $1,000 slips and prize picks, all the goblins too. It's like, okay. All right, but let's get into the breakdown here. So we're going to go team by team, kind of talk things through. So let's start off with Tennessee. So Tennessee, what do we know? Brian Callahan said that the plan is for starters to play targeting 2 series for Cam Ward and other starters. So that's what we're expecting here. And then we're going to get Brandon Allen, who I think might play a good amount this week. And then don't play Tim Boyle. He is no longer on the roster. He got released. They added Trevor Siemian a couple days ago. My guess is you'll probably see a little bit of Siemian, but more so mop-up duty. So, of the 3 quarterbacks here, I think that Brandon Allen will probably get the most run for Tennessee. Now, for running back for the Titans, so Tajay Spears going to be out for a bit. You had Pollard, Chestnut, Mullings, Mims, and Jefferson play. So right now we're expecting 5 running backs to play for Tennessee. If you take a look at snap counts, and I'll go over all these snap counts too in my roster construction video for premium members. We'll mention a couple here on this video too. They were pretty spread out. Again, 6 running backs played. The guy that played the most was Chestnut. He played 13 snaps, but they were relatively spread out there for running back for Tennessee, and we're still expecting 5 running backs to play here. So nothing that really stands out there. Looking at wide receiver for Tennessee, also pretty disgusting. We're expecting the starters to play a couple of series. That would be Ridley, Lockett, Van Jefferson, guys like that. But if you take a look at everyone that played, so all the wide receivers, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 wide receivers play. Expecting similar unless we get some late scratches. So pretty disgusting wide receiver room as well. Now, can you take a shot on like one of these starting wide receivers and hope they're, can be very productive in the 2 series that play? Sure. I think if I was to play a starter, probably would be Calvin Ridley there. But the wide receiver snaps are really spread out. Just looking it through, let's see. No one ran more than 14 routes at wide receiver. So, and there was Alec Iomanner, the rookie. He ran the most routes last week, so Probably, if I had to play wide receiver, probably would be him for Tennessee. And then for tight end, also pretty disgusting. We saw 6 tight ends play. No one played more than 19 snaps. No one ran more than 8 routes. So not a ton here either, assuming all 6 play again, unless we hear otherwise. All right, let's move on to Atlanta. So Atlanta, nothing definitive yet, but sounds like we're not going to see Penix and Kirk Cousins again. We didn't see many of the starters last week for Atlanta, so I'm expecting basically all the starters to sit again. So not expecting Penix or Cousins to play. Not expecting Bijan, Algier, London, Mooney, McLeod. I think all the main guys here for Atlanta are going to sit. Not 100% guarantee, but that's kind of what it sounds like. So that should mean a half of Easton Stick and a half of Emory Jones. Now, one thing to note, last week, if you're looking at snaps for Atlanta, right, they played against Detroit, and that game ended early, right? I believe it was either late in the third or early in the fourth, I forget. So that is one thing to note there. But as far as the quarterbacks go, I think these are 2 really good quarterback plays because we're expecting half each here for Stick and for Jones. Both are mobile. Jones a little bit more mobile. So I like both quarterbacks here a good amount for Atlanta. All right, now if we take a look at running back for the Falcons. So you saw 3 running backs play last week. We didn't see Bijan and Algier suit up. Washington as well. And I was looking at Twitter trying to find some updates on Carlos Washington. Most recent update is from a couple days ago where he was still not at practice. So that could mean that there's only 3 running backs active for Atlanta tomorrow. That would be Carter, that would be Dotson, that would be Corbin. Looking at the snaps for those guys, 16 snaps for Dotson, 14 for Corbin, 8 for Carter. Yeah, this could be a pretty thin room here, assuming Carlos Washington does not play. So I think all 3 look really good here for Atlanta. And then for wide receiver, I'm also expecting them to be pretty shorthanded. So my guess is that you're not going to see any of the starters. So again, London, Mooney, McLeod, Hodge. I don't think any of those guys will play. And then Jamal Agnew, kind of a special teams guy, is probably going to be out as well, dealing with an injury. So Atlanta, I expect to be pretty shorthanded here. They're definitely one of the better teams, if not the best team to get to on this slate. If you look at the wide receivers that played last week, it was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wide receivers played. Now, Dylan Drummond played the most of the group. He played 25 snaps and ran 19 routes. Matthews, 23 snaps, 17 routes. So, yeah, this is a wide receiver group that I definitely want to target. I think Drummond will be one of the more popular wide receiver plays on this slate. He also had a really good week. I think he had like 6 catches, I want to say, if you look at the box score. I believe. Here, let me bring that up. Let's see. Where were the Falcons? I'm pretty sure it was Drummond that had the big, actual game. Yeah, 8 catches. 8 catches, 63 yards for Dylan Drummond. So he ran the most amount of snaps. Or he played the most snaps and ran the most amount of routes. So I think he looks good. Blair, Nick Nash, Matthews, guys like that, I think are all pretty solid here. So again, if you look at the depth chart, right, top 4 guys are not expecting to play. So it's more like kind of the middle of the back end guys I think will probably get the most amount of work here for Atlanta. And then if you take a look at tight end, only 3 tight ends played for the Atlanta Falcons, which also could make this group pretty thin. The top 3 guys did not play. Pitts, Warner, and Corentano all sat. If you take a look at snap counts for Atlanta last week for the tight ends, it was Joshua Simon that played the most, 18 snaps and 13 routes. But the other 2 tight ends definitely viable as well here. So right now, yeah, Atlanta, I think this looks like a really good team to get to. Tennessee, not so much. All right, so let's talk through Kansas City. We know, well, number one, never trust a word that Andy Reid says in the preseason. It's been the case, and people always buy into it. Week 1, it's always, the starters are going to play the first quarter. They play 1 drive. Usually week 2, it's, the starters are going to play the first half, and they play maybe a quarter. But it sounds like the starters are going to sit here for Kansas City. So so Andy Reid says Kansas City starters such as Mahomes, Kelsey, Jones likely won't play. So Gardner Minshew's been playing, getting the QB1 snaps in practice. So expecting 3 quarterbacks to play here for Kansas City, with Minshew starting, then Zappy, and then Chris as kind of getting the mop-up duty there. Playing time expectations, right now, I think it'll be relatively even split, but we might get some more clarity on that tomorrow. Looking at the snaps last week for quarterback, it was 17 snaps for Minshew, 29 for Zappy, 18 for Chris. So again, we'll see there on if we'll get some clarity on playing time expectation for the 3 quarterbacks. Now, looking at running backs, so I assume that like Pacheco and Kareem Hunt will get grouped into the starters, but not a guarantee. Not a guarantee. Looking at last week, the Chiefs played 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 running backs. No one played more than 19 snaps. But if we see Pacheco sit and we see Kareem Hunt sit, that would leave only 4 running backs with Mitchell, Smith, Young, and Carson Steele. So this group could be relatively shorthanded as well. Again, if you look at the guy that played the most in week 1, it was Smith, 19 snaps, 13 routes. But yeah, if there's no Pacheco, no Hunt, I think this running back room would be pretty solid to get to. Wide receivers, so my expectation is that like the top 4 guys probably get grouped into the starters with Mahomes and Kelsey and don't play. Not a guarantee, but that's what I think happens right now. They played a lot of wide receivers, the Chiefs, in week 1. So you saw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 wide receivers play. If you do knock out those top 4 guys, they still are going to have a good amount of wide receivers available to play here. Looking at the guy that played the most, so let's see. Jalen Royals, 26 snaps and 17 routes. He led the team in snaps. You had Jimmy Holiday also run 17 routes. Remigio ran 14 routes. So if you're taking a look at the Chiefs wide receivers, I think Royals would probably be the guy I like the best. But more the middle to back end guys in the depth chart are in play for Kansas City. Tyquan Thornton, 11 snaps, 8 routes. Looks like he's going to make the roster, so there's a chance he gets limited and barely plays this week. And then talking through tight ends for Kansas City. So you saw 6 tight ends play. Surprisingly, it was Robert Tonyan that played the most, 34 snaps and 22 routes. I don't think we're going to see Gray or Kelsey, but the veteran Tonyan played a lot and ran a lot of routes. So that's definitely something to note. Jared Riley, 20 snaps and 10 routes there for Kansas City. You would think that like he would be the guy that would play the most, but it was actually Robert Tonyan. So we'll see if that happens again for week 2. All right, so let's finish up here with Seattle. So right now the expectation for Seattle is that the starters are going to play. Sounds like a couple series for Sam Darnold and the starters. Last week it was Drew Lock starting, playing more than a half, and then Milroe coming in. But right now Darnold is expected to play a couple of series. Since Locke played more than Milroe last week, what I think happens is a couple series for Darnold, and then Locke plays the rest of the first half, and then I think Milroe gets the entire second half. If that is the case, then Milroe is right there with the 2 Falcons quarterbacks as the best quarterback plays right now. So maybe we'll get some clarity on the Locke-Milroe split, but I think that's a fair assumption to make. Is Locke finishes off the first half after Darnold comes in, and then Milroe gets the entire second half. All right, so looking at running backs for Seattle, last week you did only see 4 running backs play: Martinez, Tyus, Wright, and Halani. Now you do have Walker and Charbonnet. I don't think Ken Walker is going to play still. He's been kind of alternating days in practice, so I think he still sits. Not a guarantee, but I do think Charbonnet plays. So that would leave 5 running backs then for Seattle, which wouldn't make this room look great. I think if I was to target a running back here, it probably would be Halani, 18 snaps in week 1. Damian Martinez, 22 snaps. I think those 2 kind of the middle of the depth chart guys here for Seattle would be the running backs I would target, Helani, Martinez. Looking at wide receivers, so we did see the starters again sit in week 1. We are expecting them to play a couple series here. So the starters that did not play, JSN, Cooper Kupp, and MVS. I think those guys will be on the field and will play with Sam Darnold a couple series. Now, can you play guys like that in preseason? Yeah, like you can take a shot in JSN or Cooper Kupp in a couple series. It's definitely viable. Looking at the guys that played the most in week 1, it was kind of more the middle of the depth chart guys. Torrey Horton played a lot, 29 snaps, 18 routes. Young, 31 snaps and 17 routes. And then you saw Jake Bobo, 29 snaps and 18 routes. So those are the guys that played the most. Horton, Bobo, and then Young. Ricky White played basically all with Milroe. I think that'll probably happen again. He's definitely viable there too. It's just that Seattle was playing from a lead in the second half, so they didn't have to air it out a ton. But yeah, with the starters playing, it definitely is a downgrade. I still think that those 3 that I mentioned that played the most would probably be your safest bets to get to. Horton, who got targeted a ton, Bobo, and then Young. But yeah, let's move on to tight end, finish it up here. Looking at tight ends, so Seattle played 4 tight ends. You did not see A.J. Barner play. I do think he'll play a bit with the starters here, but it was Elijah Arroyo that played a lot, and I mean a lot in week 1. 36 snaps and 20 routes, I think makes him definitely one of the better tight end plays to get to on the slate. So Arroyo, assuming we get a similar snaps to week 1, I think looks really, really good. All right, guys, so that's going to wrap it up for the video. Again, if you are looking for more in-depth content, link is in the description. We'll give you a huge leg up to the field. And yeah, appreciate the support as always. Good luck, and we'll see you guys all in the next one.